you have a Mac, you have all the watches and the ding-dongs and the headphones and all the things that need charging.
My Apple ding-dongs.
Yeah, Apple ding-dongs. You have to charge them, and it's annoying to plug all the ding-dongs in. So if you have just one ding-dong.
Yeah, just one big old ding-dong.
Just so you guys know, we're talking about wireless charging.
Oh, are we?
Wireless charging.
I was talking about my college dating career.
Yeah. So if you guys watch the, you can't. Just cut the part out.
The big old ding-dong on that. Anyway, sorry.
So wireless charging is now available for all products. You can get like one slab of charging and just throw all your stuff on it, and then it'll all charge. But
it looks like the new phones, Apple Watch, the new EarPods, which I've already lost.
How'd you lose it?
Yeah, because they're so tiny.
Were you walking just fast a little bit?
I was. Yeah, a big gust of wind.
You put them down for 1 second, and then.
And they're gone.
A small rabbit came by and ate it.
Yeah. But let's talk about this a little bit too. With the iPhone 10, they're talking about the price is going to break that $1,000 mark, which a lot of companies have been trying to avoid because people don't want to pay that much for a cell phone.
So as an Apple user, do you find that you buy your phones outright, or do you just do the plan thing?
I definitely do a plan, yeah. And the thing is, I am okay with not having the most up-to-date iPhone. Like,
which most people are not.
There are a lot of fans out there that will be in line ready to buy both the 10 and the 8 and the 8 Plus, like,
get out
at launch. I know. But, I do get excited about new features because I want to live in the Star Trek world where we're in the future and everything just happens with this magic doodad I have in my pocket.
So the magic of the wireless charging is magic that this is since 2013 on their phones.
Yeah.
So welcome to our past.
Yeah.
iPhone users.
One thing that both the 8 and the 10 are bringing up is the facial security feature, because there is no more home button, so it's not with fingerprints anymore. It's by recognizing your face, which is interesting.
And as we were talking before we started shooting, the face recognition does not have a very good track record recognizing non-Caucasian features. And I will admit that, like, if me and my best friend, who's also Asian, put on like exactly the same black wig, I look at a picture, I'm like, oh shit, which one's me? So I'm so excited for my iPhone friends to get their iPhones and me messing with their cameras. It's like, I want to see if this really works. I'm not 100% convinced. I don't believe it at all, actually.
That's one of the things that I've kind of liked about Apple waiting to release like new technology is that other phone companies may have released it sooner, but maybe Apple has perfected it, or at least have a better understanding on how the technology works.
They've had time and a lot of money to throw at the problem, and $1,000 of your own pocket money to throw at the problem. So,
so if you're not willing to break that 1,000 mark, there is the 8 and the 8 Plus, which boast a lot of the same features, but they're going to be smaller and, like we said, cheaper.
The iPhone 8 and the 8 Plus are starting to be on sale this Friday for $699.
Right. And it's the same 4.7-inch screen and the 5.5-inch screen as the 7 and the 7 Plus. So you'll get some of the technological upgrades, but it'll still kind of look like your phone.
But not shattered in 20 different places.
Yeah, it will.
Waiting to be shattered.
What do you think, audience? Do you think that the 8 Plus, or the 10 are worth upgrading for? Are you going to be first in line at the Apple Store the morning they come out? Let us know in the comments down below, and make sure to like and subscribe for more. We no longer have to turn to Themyscira for some badass female warriors. Now we can look at actual history. What?
What's history? What's Themyscira? What's going on?
So there was a new genetic analysis of a skeleton that was found in Norway at the University of Uppsala.
In the 1880s.
Yeah.
So it's been a bit.
So it was a Viking warrior, and allegedly they had first found out that it might have been a woman in the 70s, but nobody bothered to follow up because that's not important.
Also, the technology didn't exist.
Yeah, that's true.
Couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Fine.
So we just did the cultural assumption that
you did it.
This was a warrior. Therefore, it was a man, and so. Now, we do have the technology to analyze the DNA, and they found out that it was 2 X chromosomes.
It was a lady.
It was a lady, and not only was it a lady, but it was a lady with a warrior grave that had a battle knife, a spear, a sword, an axe, 2 horses. There it is. And a full set of gaming pieces and a gaming board. So she was a gamer girl.
I love D&D.
I love D&D.
Yeah. I like that. So is she sitting upright, and the artist
I think so, because she's a lady.
How do you,
gotta keep her legs closed. No, I don't know.
Push horses.
I think this is really exciting, though, because we've heard in Norse mythology, you have like the Valkyries, or big female characters that are out and kicking ass, and today's historians have been like, those are just stories. That can't actually happen, and now we've got proof that the ladies were fighting side by side. And
more than, I think, women Viking fighters did exist for sure, but also that she was an officer, she was a top-ranking person.
Yeah.
Is what they think the chessboard and all that stuff seems to indicate. But they also said the skeleton didn't show any signs of injury, so it could have been a natural death. It could have been
That's how you know that she was a good warrior, because nobody could touch her. John Cena.
What?
No, but I think this is really cool, and it's a step forward, especially when feminist issues are such a hot button topic right now. For us to look back at our past and maybe reevaluate what we've assumed, especially when it comes to anthropology. Yeah, I would like to say that there's a lot of, in the article that we're referencing, a lot of scuttlebutt about, well, there must be a man somewhere. Yeah, he must just be missing from this grave. Guys, just why are you looking around for a male skeleton? He probably wandered over to another lady's coffin. We'll just keep digging until we find him. He must have walked out. Boys will be boys. So dumb. Audience, what do you think? Should we reevaluate our anthropological finds to see if there are women that had positions of power, or should we just kind of leave it as it is and continue on our merry way? Comment down below and make sure to like and subscribe for more. Wonder Woman smashed box office records and our expectations of the DC Cinematic Universe. Hey! Can they do it again? Hey! Yes, they can! Luckily, Patty Jenkins is now attached officially to the Wonder Woman sequel, which is great. Right. I loved what she did with the first one, and I'm super excited to see what she'll do in the future, because I feel like you really saw her footprint. Is that the right word? Handprint? You saw her mark in Wonder Woman. Hey, you got there. Yeah. I think it is almost unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me as a woman, but it's almost unbelievable that they didn't sign her on for a contract for sequels, right? Because they didn't believe it would succeed. Yeah. But it kind of went in her favor, I would assume. They haven't released the numbers or anything like that. Because she didn't sign a contract, she could probably demand more money because it was such a success. I hope so. You want to do it again? You got me, but it's going to cost you. And so that was kind of like the lady tax that they have to pay. The lady tax. Well, we don't know if that's scuttlebutt. We did. This is not. Yeah, no. I'm variety. We're gossip mongering. This is what the news might be like in the future. Yeah. Well, but they were cutting it close because they've already set the release date at December 13th, 2019. Yes. And that's not a lot of time to make a big budget superhero movie. Yeah. So it's like, just pay the lady who made the great movie about this Wonder Woman, and then you can have another great Wonder Woman movie. What is so hard about this math? I know. It's not like they would do this with the Batman franchise or with Superman. Poor Batman. Poor Batman. All the Batman. Poor Superman. He's not holding it together. But yay for Wonder Woman. Yeah. You know, they did something right, and not only was it well received critically, but also just for us normies that are watching it as well. People really liked it. And it's always scary when, someone says, oh, it's a female lead, and oh, it's directed by a woman. If literally anything goes wrong, they'll blame it on one of those two things. And then this movie came out and was kind of just like, slap 5 stars across the board. It was just like, there's no way to refute the hard numbers of the sales of that movie and the reception of the movie. Yeah. You got facts, man. Patty Jenkins. What about you, audience? Are you excited to see what Patty Jenkins will bring to the table for Wonder Woman 2? Let us know in the comments down below, and make sure to like and subscribe for more. Kim Horcher's gone. And for more news about Kim Horcher, don't look at her Twitter. It's a ruse. Ruse. Stephen King's It is out in theaters, and some book fans are worried about a controversial scene. But don't worry, we're going to talk about it. Spoilers ahead for the movie It. But it's not in the movie. There it is. Spoiler? There's the spoiler. Oh, whoops. No. All the It book readers who haven't seen any, Any of the
film evidence,
miniseries?
they're all like, no, nerd alert.
Yeah,
Ruined it.
It is about this monster, this demon. They don't really explain it in the movie because I have seen it, but it takes on the form of whatever you fear the most, and it terrorizes this group of kids in a small town in the 80s. And in the book, the kids kind of get lost in the sewer system, and it's apparently like this big old metaphor of them having sex with the one girl in the group,
right?
As a transition into manhood, and she's like, this is what we must do to bring us together. It's like, all right, Beverly, settle down.
Yeah, because apparently they start to kind of mentally fall apart. And she's like, no, we have to stay together. And then in the book, to do that, they have an orgy.
Yeah.
Stephen King.
In the sewers.
Yep, Stephen King was like, this is the only way to show them togetherness of children.
That's the direct quote, but we do have the quote from Stephen King if we want to pull it up. I wasn't really thinking of the sexual aspect of it. Intuitively, the losers knew that they had to be together again. The sexual act connected childhood and adulthood. Now, that is the nickname that they kind of gave their group of friends, is the losers. So they'd be like, welcome to the losers.
I wasn't thinking about the sexual aspect when I penned in several sex acts into this sex scene.
I mean, the 80s was a crazy time, and
Stephen King was a little off the rails in the 80s also.
Yeah,
he's calmed down a bit.
He built up his reputation of having shocking, weird, gross things in his novels, and I think that this was no exception. Even though, looking back at it, is maybe this was problematic and we shouldn't have had it, especially with the lack of protection or sexual awareness, and these are children.
Yeah, and there's so many other ways to show that, to bond them together. You could have done it through writing.
Yeah. Cary Fukunaga, who was originally on board to do the screenplay for it, Cary Fukunaga and Chase Palmer, their original screenplay had her kind of going to each of the boys and had Beverly touching them in the face, and it was a connection, it was a moment, and they scrapped that, and they were gone from the project due to creative differences. Yeah. And the character of Beverly has changed so much from what you see in the original screenplay for this movie as to what has been released in theaters. She's kind of troped out and put into that damsel in distress.
The boys have to get together to save her.
Right.
Because she gets taken by the clown man. Yeah. I just, and then it ends with a Hollywood kiss, and spoilers, seriously, why do we, the children, goodness sakes.
Yeah.
Goodness sakes.
I mean, I will say that it does kind of play towards the 80s tropes, and so when you're watching it, I think they wanted to invoke kind of that nostalgia that Stranger Things did, where it feels like an 80s movie, and those kind of elements lend itself to feeling like an 80s movie. But it's 2017. We don't have to live in the 80s.
Yeah, true.
The woman doesn't have, or the lady doesn't have to be in distress, you know what I mean? The girl character.
Yeah, and then literally 3 characters don't have to be in love with her.
Exactly.
Okay, we can just be friends?
Yeah.
No?
And I think that's what Stranger Things did well. Not only was Eleven a badass, but she was a friend, and there was a little bit of the love thing. But
yeah, but it was mostly just the bond of the friendships. The other boys who she did not, Eleven didn't have a romantic interest in or whatever, was just, they were just but we still, need you, and you're part of our group.
You're important, Yeah, so audience, let us know what you thought of the new It movie and where the character of Beverly was taken, and if you are disappointed that they left out the orgy scene, go ahead and leave that comment down below, and make sure to like and subscribe for more. Kim Horcher is tented up in my backyard. She's going through a rough time right now. In the future, tech companies could own our lives, or at least the tech that could save it.
Yay!
How's that for a cold opening? Is it Skynet yet?
Skynet time!
So Tesla, the car company, unlocked some special features of Tesla owners' cars in Florida due to Hurricane Irma. And so this special feature, which they could have paid more for when they bought the car, extends the mileage of the car and of what they can get with one charge.
For extra 30 miles. I believe they didn't actually do this themselves. Somebody who owned a Tesla called them to ask hey, I'm trying to escape this hurricane.
Yeah, please fix my car.
Is there a way I could just get this? It's a lot of money, but can I just get it for free? And they were like, oh shit, we should just not a direct quote. We should just do that for everybody and not be evil or evil corporations. So they did that.
Said the CEO of Tesla, I'm sure.
It's me, the CEO of Tesla in disguise.
Oh shit, we should probably do that.
So I guess a lot of what this article points to is that it's scary that they could have just not done it.
Yeah.
They could have held them hostage for, okay, give us your credit card numbers, and then maybe we'll let you escape.
Right.
Because they have that power.
That it's motivated by like the PR that could come out of this, as opposed to just let's help some people.
Yeah.
But it's not a government decision. It's not a consumer decision. It's it's a decision by an independently owned company, whether or not the mileage will help them escape the hurricane or evacuation. Like, that's kind of not the point of the whole thing. It's that they have this power, and it's just a wealth gap that is separating people from getting that extra mileage out of a car that they own.
It's interesting to see that I don't know the exact numbers for the price difference between the non-extra 30 miles and the extra 30 miles. But the thing is that they've already made the car and it has all the stuff in it, you know.
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, so it costs them X amount of money to make the car,
right?
And for you to have to pay a different amount of money for like a cheaper version, even though all that stuff's still in there, is strange because you basically don't own the car; they still own it.
Yeah,
you know, they own like 20% of it or whatever you're paying for.
Well, I mean, and to be fair, it does make sense from a business standpoint of like, let's try this new thing where we're basically adding DLC for your car, where we have these extra features. It's the same thing as like air conditioning or, but now it's a matter of safety. But it's already like air conditioning or satellite radio or whatever. It's all set up to be there, but you have to buy the thing to do the thing.
Sure.
But it's not a safety feature. It's not like, well, if you want seatbelts, you're going to have to pay more.
Yeah. And in this case, I think the argument is that this is like a life and death issue. If it save people, the government couldn't force them to add those miles back on or to let them escape their doom.
And that it's so simple, or at least it seems so simple, as like a push of the button from a company.
Do we have a GIF of someone just pressing a button?
In the control panel, like, oh, Florida, go ahead, release.
We're doing so much speculating. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, I know.
This is the fake news you warned about.
Oh, God, no. But yeah, it says in the article, the issue boils down to the company having complete control over when it gets to remotely intervene in extreme situations with virtually no accountability to its owners.
Yeah.
So it's not the government stepping in and saying you should do this, or it might have been a customer asking for it, but it's strictly in the hands of one company. If they decided not to do it, then lives could have been lost.
To be fair, though, like in the article, it does also mention that the way the charging units are set up, that they wouldn't have like lost charges before they got less than 30 miles out of the thing.
So it was more of a PR stunt than an actual need. But it could change in the future. Yeah. So let us know down in the comments below, would you be happy with something like this where you have a thing that you own that a company could add features to remotely? Or do you want to own the thing when you buy it? Let us know and like and subscribe for more.
Kim Horcher's still missing.
Kim Horcher's gone.
Day 5?
Day 40. And they still haven't discovered that she's in with the llamas in disguise. Streamer and YouTuber PewDiePie is in trouble again. And what does it say about gaming culture? Let's talk about it. He said a naughty word on stream.
A word you can't even say.
Yep.
Call it the N-word.
The N-word, yeah. And his defense was that it was like the heat of a gaming moment, and it just kind of slipped out.
And it was a live stream, so you couldn't go back and edit it out.
Yeah, I think we have a video of that too.
Jeez, oh my God, what the fuck? Sorry, but what the fuck? What a fucking asshole. I don't mean that in a bad way.
And he knows that he messed up when he said that. There's no excuse, but this has been happening in the gaming world forever. Since microphones have been invented, there have been kids that have been on these services just screaming the most
saying the worst things you can think of.
Yeah, and that's the whole like culture around it, is that it started off with people. It's childish. It's kids saying words that think will get a rise out of whoever they're playing against, and the words just devolve into layers of like heinousness.
Definitely, and it's not the first time he's been in trouble. PewDiePie was in the media recently for lots of other terrible things, but on Twitter, the company behind the game he was playing, Firewatch, Campo Santo.
Yeah. So he was playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, but it's the same developer who's coming out with Firewatch. He came out with a series of tweets. We're filing a DMCA takedown of PewDiePie's Firewatch content in any future Campo Santo games. He's worse than a closeted racist. He's a propagator of despicable garbage that does real damage to the culture around this industry. I'd urge other developers, and we'll be reaching out to folks much larger than us, to cut him off from the content that has made him a millionaire. Furthermore, we're complicit. it. I'm sure we've made money off the 5.7 million views the video has, and that's something for us to think about. Lastly, I love streamers. I watch them daily, and we've set out over 3,000 keys to professional and amateur streamers of Firewatch. And so this is one of the first times that a developer is coming forward and saying, like, we're allowing you to stream these games, and we're allowing you to share our content, and you're making money off of it, and this is content that we don't support. And
so we should be allowed to take it down.
Yeah.
Definitely. The only reason we're allowed to stream this stuff is, like you said, they don't come after them. Technically, you're not supposed to put anything on the internet that you don't own.
Right.
So if you're streaming a reaction video or a video playthrough, it's the Digital Rights Millennium Act that usually prohibits this, but game developers do generally make money off people streaming it and other people watching and going, oh, that looks fun too, I'll play.
I want to play that game too.
In this case, what Sean's argument is that PewDiePie is spreading the idea that all gamers, the very popular gamers, are racist buttholes. Is what I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah, it's definitely damaging for the community as a whole, but also for his own brand. I mean, he's no stranger to this kind of controversy because for whatever reason he can't seem to control his mouth. And you could chalk it up to that English is not his first language, so the things that he learned he's gleaned from other people, but that's still no excuse. You have to be responsible when you have a platform that large for your actions.
And I think it's totally fine for them to be like, take it down. And it is down. It's already been taken down.
Yeah. But I believe that PewDiePie has issued an apology as of this morning, and so I think we've got a video clip of that.
I'm disappointed in myself because it seems like I've learned nothing from all these past controversies. And it's not that I think I can say or do whatever I want and get away with it. That's not it at all. I'm just an idiot. But that doesn't make what I said or how I said it okay. It was not okay. I'm really sorry if I offended, hurt, or disappointed anyone with all of this. Being in the position I am, I should know better.
Yeah, it just seems like a really general apology of, like, someone forced him to make this.
You know what they say about, you're not really sorry that you did the thing, you're sorry you got caught.
Yeah.
He's really sorry he got caught.
Right.
For sure. And for him to say, this is a very, privileged thing that's happening. For him to say, it's not that I think that I can get away with it, it's that I'm an idiot. It's that it makes me so mad, but the reason you're making this apology video is so that you can get away from it and keep making money off these videos. Maybe you didn't think you could get it or whatever, but you are, if you think that if people like you again, you're gonna make this video, people are gonna be like, oh, he's fine, let's forgive him.
An idiot.
He's just a dumb kid.
Right.
It does not exclude the fact that he's making all this money on people and influencing his fans to, because he's making a lot of money, influence his fans to be like, wow, I should be like him, right?
Yeah.
And, when you're a role model, there's consequences to everything you say.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's better than him not apologizing, right?
That's true.
And how are we to judge how apologetic he feels in his heart?
Yeah.
But I don't care. I don't really care.
Well, how about you guys? Make sure to leave a comment down below. Was him getting the videos taken down? Is that enough of a punishment? Is this kind of PR firestorm enough of a punishment? Or should he just be able to do whatever he wants because he's just a YouTuber? Let us know in the comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe for more. In a wild act of democracy, packs of wild African dogs are voting on group decisions by sneezing.
Achoo!
Bless you.
Achoo! Let's go kill things. Do you agree? Press 1 if you agree.
No, this is fascinating. It turns out that packs of African dogs are making collective decisions by how many times they're sneezing or agreeing with each other. We've got a video that I think will clear some of this up.
Or will it?
Or will it? It's just dogs sneezing. Oh, they definitely made a decision there.
Yeah.
As a dog owner, which you can follow on her Instagram, I'm Chubby Bunny of Moogie on there.
Moogie the pup.
Moogie the pup. Does Moogie ever sneeze, and do you fear for your life?
Well, there's actually been other studies done of domestic dogs where if domestic dogs sneeze while they're interacting with another dog, it shows that they're just playing.
Oh, and
Yeah.
not just that some pollen got up their nose.
Yeah, and well, I think sometimes my dog sneezes because she's just sneezing. But in this scientific case, it is very different.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we've got some quotes from some of the scientists that were leading the charge on this. I wanted to better understand this collective behavior and noticed the dogs were sneezing while preparing to go. We recorded details of 68 social rallies from 5 African wild dog packs living in the Okavango Delta in Botswana and couldn't quite believe it when our analyses confirmed our suspicions. Yeah, that's from Neil Jordan, the researcher.
He was just staring at the dog so long, he was like, oh shit, they're all sneezing, and then they start doing something right after it. But like, how soon after? Like,
Yeah.
like 5 minutes?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
in the video, it's just like they sneeze and they just stare at each other.
I feel like this is a scenario where it's like you get a bunch of like prisoners and they're trying to communicate without the guards noticing. So they've created a series of like taps and sneezing.
No,
like,
they just can't talk because they're doggies.
oh, that's true. But also the dogs are like, the humans are watching. Sneeze a bunch and confuse them. Oh man. But yeah, it said the more sneezes that occurred, the more likely it was that the pack moved off and started hunting. The sneeze acts like a type of voting system.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes you wonder, are the dogs counting? Like how many votes?
Apparently, in some cases, it says if the dominant dogs did not sneeze, then the rally would only take place after 10 or more sneezes from the non-dominant doggies.
Doggies!
Doggos! Oh, let's just call them doggos. They're just doggos.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is weird. I didn't know that dogs could vote in packs. I know dogs do operate in a pack culture, well,
Right.
most dogs.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see that in this case there's like a number. They are counting.
Yeah.
They can count to 10-ish.
Or at least acknowledging the difference between them, that they're not, okay, this is not another dog, this is like Jim, and that's Pam. And
Oh, right.
like the wild
It's not the
African
same.
office.
It's not the same dog sneezing 10 times to try and get 10 votes in.
Yeah.
Wait, is that in the article? Did they check for that?
We need a recount.
They
Can
check-
you sneeze again? All right, Jeremy, stop sneezing so much. Are we running or not? God damn it, Derek.
So this goddammit Derek situation is called quorum behavior.
Thanks for reining it in and bringing it back to the science.
Quorum behavior is when a minimum number of votes is needed to require a group of animals to do something. It's been observed in meerkats, honeybees, mountain gorillas.
I would love to see some honeybees sneezing up a storm just to make a decision.
That they didn't say it was sneezing, but and white-faced capuchin
monkey.
But like I don't know what they do. Maybe the honeybees just like fly like in a reverse circle.
Yeah,
and then the
honey goes everywhere.
We're wildly speculating, guys. Again, just so you know.
Eric the honeybee just keeps on voting.
The monkeys just go like this every time they vote.
Oh boy! All right, so now that you've had your science update, let us know what you think about this. Are they sneezing to create a democracy and a voting system, or did they just get something in their cute little doggo noses? Let us know in the comments down below, and make sure to like and subscribe for more. Kim Horcher will be back soon, I'm sure.
You received a lot of.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. We're going to get right into it, but first let me just tell you what's on the docket. We have a kind of due date for Kim Kardashian. Fashion Week banned certain models. We'll tell you what models. And then we're going to talk about Title IX, which you should know about, and an interesting wedding. So let's get into it right now. Kim and Kanye having another baby. You had heard rumors about it, that they had gotten a surrogate and they paid her a bunch of money. Well, now it is being reported that the due date is just around the proverbial corner in January. So Kim Kardashian will add a new sibling to North and St. West after having reportedly paid $45,000 to a surrogate. What do we think? 5 words or less.
Already more famous than me.
More power to her. Yay.
Yay. Name the baby a sound. Like, because they've already done North, which is a direction.
Yeah.
Saint, which is just.
It's royalty.
This kid's going to feel entitled enough as a West.
Saint West.
Not like Flark West. West.
What if they're just like Jennifer? Jennifer West.
That would be cool. Or like
Megan
West.
Yeah, right.
Megan. Alyssa West. Down the middle.
God.
Jessica West.
First of all, we reported on this a couple weeks ago when they initially talked about the surrogacy with Kim Kardashian, and $45,000 seems like chump change in comparison to what Kim made last year and what this woman has to do to carry the baby. Okay, so some surrogates get upwards of $100,000 in addition to gifts and stuff like that from couples that want to have a baby. But $45,000 seems kind of like a low ball. It's like going to buy like a Volkswagen Passat. I want to buy this car for like $15,000. It's worth $20,000. Kim goes to the surrogate and it's like, hey, listen, I'm gonna give you $45,000. Is that good?
And you can say you had my baby.
No, I feel like this with the amount of money. First of all, you can't put a price on life. I just want to start by saying that. But now that they did put a price on life, I feel like you should have been like, listen, honey, I'm gonna give you $150,000, maybe a car. Or something else. $45,000 is a lot of money.
You think she's not paying her rent? You think she's not paying her car payment?
All of that.
So there's additional accoutrements that are going on.
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay. Heather, enlighten me.
I've never had a surrogate before. I don't know.
You should try it. It's a great.
Is it now?
It's so easy. It's a dream.
I feel like there's definitely some sort of contract thing that they have where, yes, you get a lump sum of like $45,000 plus. Maybe she's paying for, her to stay somewhere.
She get all her
meals.
Okay.
I bet she's taken care of.
I get the extreme toll on your body, not to mention the weird feeling. I saw that show on Bravo where the guy flips houses, flipping out. They had a surrogate baby, and it is so weird that they just, like, the woman's up there, and they're having the assistant hold a leg, and then it's like, and then they just take the baby, hand it over to the parents, and they're just holding it and doing like skin on skin contact like you're supposed to do.
Meanwhile, the person's just like dead. Dead.
What now? Over there is that thing. I must be like, at that point, you just have to think of it like taking the world's most rewarding poo. Like, it's over.
But y'all are giving Kim the benefit of the doubt here. She actually did have medical issues.
She
had a very risky pregnancy.
Absolutely.
And if they wanted to grow their family, this is really the only option to do it biologically.
Well, we saw it on the Kardashians. We saw it on Keeping Up with the Kardashians that she was really. That's what some people online were like chastising and lambasting Kim for not doing it the natural way, but she couldn't. And so I'm a Kim Kardashian supporter. I like Kim. I think that in the last 2 years, we've seen her just really evolve into someone who's actually a nice person. I mean, I don't know her personally, but I think that she means well. She's not this vapid, vacuous, lame person that people always want to associate her with.
Mm-hmm.
She's definitely coming to her own. Her recent Jackie O show.
I loved it.
Fantastic. And then Brett, you're covered on in the two-shot for climbing a tree.
Okay, I have so many issues with that one. It's just so random.
It is random.
It's so random. She's wearing combat boots and that's it.
Yeah.
It's just like an awkward pose. I just don't fully
You're forgetting that she is the master of getting you to talk about her, and what did we do?
Talk about
We talked about her.
Yeah,
If she was closed in the tree, who would have cared?
I want to talk about surrogacy. I get it. And I especially get it if you're Kim Kardashian going like, I've done this twice already.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what my fiance, she's always talking about like, it sounds so tempting to do surrogacy. And then you just listen to like your mom say, oh, but it was so nice to have a connection with you to nurture you. It's an unparalleled experience that, like, I guess you, in order to really understand, like most things, what your parents are telling you, you have to go through it. You're just like, all right, mom, shut up. I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
But would you do? What
I think if I had like a medical emergency like him, where it literally was, going to be a huge risk to my life and maybe the baby's life to have that child, then it's definitely something that I would consider.
I actually talked to my mother about this morning, and she goes, oh my gosh, Kim Kardashian, she's such a wuss. My mom she's not caught up. She doesn't know about the medical stuff.
Right.
But she asked me, and I was like, maybe if I had unlimited funds, maybe it sounds, you're right, it's so tempting. So tempting.
I applaud women who partake in surrogacy because I had a friend who was donating her eggs, and she and my friend actually said she would donate her whole uterus if she could. She didn't want any children. But I think women that give of their body to bring happiness to another person, that in itself is like admirable. Because I can never have a baby, and I will never be able to experience that joy. So I think women that partake in that, more power to them. It's good for them. And I think the prices need to go up. I mean, you guys make good points that maybe Kim was giving them a per diem, buying them
I don't
food,
want
sushi.
Just
No sushi.
No sushi.
No dyeing hair.
Oh,
none of that.
My fiance, the thing she likes most are raw steak, sushi, and drinking.
You're never having
You
kids.
can't do that with kids.
Cannot.
It is like they just went through things to piss her off, and they just got them off the list. To your point about having kids, there's a really interesting study. This last point is that there, with animal experiments, whether you like them or not, one thing they've been able to do is change skin or cells that aren't reproductive cells into reproductive cells. So the hope being eventually they can take like skin cells, put them down to stem cells, develop them into, even if you're a male, an egg, and take the sperm from your partner and have babies, same-sex people combining their DNA together to make a baby.
That's cool. Miraculously fascinating.
It'd be awesome.
It sounds very like Alien Covenant 2, like creating alien.
I love it.
Blows your mind. All right,
I don't know about.
Well, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comment section. We're going to take a quick break right now and join us afterwards when we talk about, like, possibly the second meanest sheriff in America. Florida Sheriff Grady Judd, whose name sounds fictional. He sounds like the kind of sheriff who would say this ahead of a hurricane. Hurricane Irma is barreling into Florida. South Carolina has already made its way through the Caribbean. And he tweeted this: if you go to a shelter for Irma and you have a warrant, we'll gladly escort you to the safe and secure shelter called Polk County Jail. And then he continued later to say, if you have a warrant, turn yourself into the jail. It's a secure shelter. Ha ha ha. And then if you go to a shelter for Irma, be advised, sworn LEOs, I don't know what the LO is for, but it's enforcement officers, I think, will be at every shelter checking IDs. Sex offenders / predators will not be allowed. This unfolded from 7:31 a.m. on the 7:30 on the 6th to 8:15 a.m. on the 6th. So over the course of about an hour, he tweeted those three things. People are upset with him, saying essentially, basically, this guy's encouraging anyone with a warrant, which are issued for things such as outstanding parking tickets, to risk death. That was Alt-U.S. Press Secretary. There's a handle called Alternative Alt-Sarah H. Sanders. But a lot of people are upset with this. What are your thoughts, 5 words or less?
Why are people assholes?
Are we sure it's not a joke?
Irma kicked this dude's ass.
I don't like this sheriff.
Me neither.
I don't like it. So his first thing, I think he keeps trying to make it sound like it was a joke.
Yeah, like
I wasn't sure.
Successive tweet was a little like he took a step back and was like, well, maybe that was too much. Let me put it in a way that maybe is a little less bad, but it was still like, I don't know. It was bad.
Yeah. You can't, in this climate of social media and how easily people are ready to go with their pitchforks and tiki torches at you, you can't say stuff like that. Like, Irma is a real thing for people. That's like me. That's like back in Katrina making jokes about it. You just can't do that. We talked about this. A lot of people that are being misplaced are looking for solace and shelter. So I would hope that there is a sense of community. Yeah, and with these tweets, clearly there's not. I mean, look, if I have a parking ticket, I shouldn't have to worry about, oh my gosh, am I going to get thrown in jail? Even though, fine, a jail is a secure shelter, of course, because, you're not going to be out in the wind, but
then again, like, is it? Is it a secure building?
Yeah, like,
he's
what
saying
if it
secure.
was?
Now
like,
it's really confusing.
Yeah.
Would it be safe in the jail? You don't know.
Or anything I'm telling
a joke.
Yeah, but you can't. The insensitivities, I think, is what's really off-putting with these tweets. And I read the tweets. And then I read if there was a retraction, if there's some kind of accountability by the Polk County Sheriff. There was not as of late. Am I wrong?
I haven't seen anything. There have been no updates according to the stories that we have as of shooting. But there's 2 points that are really good. This is Kurt Eichenwald, who's a journalist. He tweeted, so at best you're impeding law enforcement by telling people with warrants to stay away. So that's one thing. Or at a human level, you're pushing them to die, which is to stay out there. The shelters are not for you. I get it, but like the most important thing that I saw is from David J. Roth. It's a tweet saying, of all the gross things that America has invented and mass-produced, and he capitalizes this term, aspiring celebrity tough guy sheriffs have to be about the grossest. And that's it. It's this sheriff, and when I teased this on the live show, I said, and before we went to break, He's the second grossest sheriff in America. Sheriff Joe Arpaio is another one of those who took his inmates and made them wear, like, in embarrassing outfits, put them out in hundreds of degree weather.
Yeah, I mean,
and people died because he wants to be known as the tough guy sheriff.
Right.
Here's the thing, my entire family is in Florida. Right now, they're all evacuating. I've been talking to them all this week, and I actually do have an uncle who is in law enforcement in I can't remember the name of the county, but in Keystone, Florida. And the thing is, why I was really confused about this, not sure how to take it, is because it actually is standard to check IDs at these shelters. My mom ran a shelter. We lived in Jacksonville, and we've been dealing with hurricanes our entire life in that area. And sex offenders are actually not allowed.
Yeah.
So again, it's like part of this is true. They are going to be checking IDs. Sex offenders are not going to be allowed. But then the whole part of sending it to jail. So I think that's where a lot of people were really, really confused. Do we take him seriously? Is this a joke? We're not sure. Half of it's true, but is the other half true too?
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
We'll gladly escort you to the safe and secure shelter. That is, like, not the kind of frank disclosure of fact that I want from a sheriff.
Yeah.
That is, guys, in 2017, probably wearing spurs and chaps, sauntering through saloon doors as he sees himself.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new sheriff in town kind of talk.
Yeah, and Darren, you made a good point that I feel like initially he was trying. I feel like there was a little bit of I don't want to say shade, but vitriol in the tweets, and then he doubled down or doubled back. Sorry, and was like, okay, because you should go right. Sex offenders, you should check IDs. That's a standard practice.
Right.
But I feel like the intent, because you always got to think about intent when posting a picture on social media, when sending a tweet. I think the intent was also kind of to be like a little evil. And so, and then he snapped and thought, wait a minute.
So, yeah, the second one does. If you have a warrant, turn yourself into the jail. It's a secure shelter.
Yeah.
It sounds like he was trying to be like, actually, no, I meant to be serious that it is a secure shelter, but he's already gone too far.
Yeah.
And I just do not like that whatsoever.
It's such a dire situation in Florida right now. They've almost completely run out of gas.
Mm-hmm.
My sister, she lives in Orlando. She can't get out.
Yeah,
I mean, she has to go to a hotel and just hope that her house is fine and everything. It's a really bad situation. And so to just add stress level for people who have just parking tickets, because that could be a warrant as well. I mean, to add that level of stress when they can't get water, they can't get gas, the roads are all blocked, and it's coming, I just think it's way, way too much.
Those are crazy. Everything I've seen, you use a Snapchat map to kind of look at where people are uploading from, even if you're not like stalking them. It's when you add to this local story. I went and looked at Walmart's in Florida. Empty shelves.
Wow. It's insane.
Yeah. My father, my aunt, my 6 aunts, my father, and a bunch of my father was a fireman. Lost everything in Katrina, and I just remember the stories of how it became survival of the fittest. There was looting, water. No gas, no water, and then you have New Orleans was flooded, like Houston. I mean, you have these people that are being pushed to the limit to survive. So I don't think making the jokes and tweets about Irma it's bad taste. Those are cool. It's just don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, we're so fortunate in LA that we haven't had a natural disaster like this. I mean, we have earthquakes, but we haven't had a major earthquake since '94.
Yeah.
So. I mean, we have to be so sensitive now. We have to be fully aware of what we're doing on social media.
But I think also the sheriff should be the one who's, out there telling people you can come to these shelters. He's the leader in the situation.
I think in a time like that, especially, people are really trying to find somebody to protect
speaking
them.
of hope,
Law enforcement,
exactly,
firefighters, people like that. So they're looking at him and wanting help, and all they're getting is, if you have a warrant, probably don't come here.
For parking violation. You know what I mean?
And there's a lot of things that the local companies, national companies, and the government are doing to help people that are really, heartening, such as they're suspending tolls on toll roads. They're just like, you don't have to slow down and pay the toll, just go.
Yeah.
And then JetBlue is offering flights at the maximum of $99 to get out. They're capping it.
Yeah, that's so wonderful.
And that's an industry that dynamically prices
airplane fees within an inch of their life. It'll be, if it's just try to go anywhere on Thanksgiving, you know that.
And they've added hundreds of flights too. They're bringing flights right now because it's down in South Florida, but in Orlando they're actually bringing more planes in to get as many people as they can out of that area because it's going to be a Cat 4 still when it hits the middle of the state. It's insane.
Crazy. Everybody stay safe out there, and do whatever you can to make it through. So, all right, we're going to move on to our next story. This one is not called "Why We Need to Go on More Mandates." Again,
love it.
It's like subliminal. That story. Do it.
Why do you guys need to go on more mandates? Anyways, okay, here goes. This one's about Fashion Week. Leading fashion companies are banning a certain type of model from the upcoming Fashion Week. What kind of model? Well, according to reports, there will no longer be allowed to be models who are less than 16 years old and are undersized too. The companies that are doing this are LVMH and Kerning. They own such brands as Christian Dior, Gucci, Marc Jacobs, Balenciaga, and Saint Laurent. It's actually pronounced
Perfect.
Nailed it.
There's mixed reaction from people. A lot of folks saying this is good because it discourages women from, getting unhealthily thin and allows there to be more realistic models. But there is kind of a mixed response from others saying that this is not the solution. What do you think? Thoughts, 5 words or less.
Why ban? Just be inclusive.
We can go a little further.
That's it. Donuts for everyone.
Fashion! I don't know. I didn't have anything.
It works,
It's
right?
hard being a guy talking about fashion.
I was trying to think of puns based on different brands, but I don't know. I couldn't think of any.
Yeah.
I was like, polo. That's too polar. Size is too polo.
You could have been no, she won't, she don't.
Oh. That's so great. Okay, so a lot of folks
holding on to that one.
Just waiting to unleash that on us.
All right, so the response being, it seems like they didn't want to encourage unhealthily skinny models.
Right.
And so is this the right way to do it?
Honestly, I think no. So they've banned a size 0 model. How many people do you know that's a size 0? Not many. There's not many. I think it's great that they banned, girls under 16. I think, a lot of times they put them in kind of like a sexually explicit outfit that I think is pretty inappropriate. But they're not really being inclusive because they're banning a size 0, but then they also don't cast models that are above a size 2. So it doesn't really make sense to me at all in any way.
I think it's time that we just get out of this phase of models have to be skinny because at the end of the day, models are there to sell us a product, and how many people who are buying this product, women mostly, actually look like these girls. And I just think I go to sites now, I tend to go to sites that have women that look like me because then I know what I'm buying. At the end of the day, it's a business, and I just think if you can walk confidently on a runway no matter what size you are, then you deserve to be there.
Totally.
And I think that's the stand that they needed to take.
Well, men are also being included in this ban as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, men that wear, you can't hire a man that's 34. That if you're under a size 34, you can't work. Well, that's really weird because I'm a size 32.
Yeah.
And they're saying, a lot of this is
I'm a size 34.
So a lot of this is, but that's how you naturally are a size 34. They're saying that these people that are underweight have some kind of psychological health disorder. And there's also, I want to read you guys something that was very eye-opening in regards to this because this is all based on the Charter of Working Relations with fashion models and their well-beings. Now, as you said, the Kering Group owns Gucci, YSL, Balenciaga, and LVMH is Dior, Givenchy, and Marc Jacobs. And basically what they're saying is that the people that are under these sizes are more susceptible to be suffering from an eating disorder or a self-esteem problem, which is not the case. I intermittent fast, and I do that because of the health benefits. I think it works out for my lifestyle. So me being a size 32 doesn't necessarily equate that I have some kind of problem. And also in 2015, they came out with the skinny model policy, which is it requires new models to provide a doctor's note that they are in good health and have a BMI of 18 or over. Now they're finding these designers €75,000 or almost $90,000 American dollars if they are in a violation of this. So I think that a lot of women, some women are just naturally thin. but some men are just naturally lean. Or to say that they have an eating disorder or problem is erroneous by all accounts.
So that's right. I totally agree with it. By doing the size, you are not addressing the issue you're saying you're addressing.
Right.
You're not addressing the priority you seem to be placing on positive mental health, positive body image. It's going to be tough to find someone in the modeling industry who isn't concerned with body image.
Right.
Because that's what it is. That's why you're there, is to demonstrate these clothes as an image on a body. It's going to be really difficult. But a lot of people in sports and a lot of different, a lot of different industries, they do have this drive in them to attain a certain goal. And if it's a goal weight, as long as it's healthy, though it can cause you some frustration along the way, as long as a doctor signs off, that one sounds way more in line with it.
Well, you're right, Brett. And like Darren, you're a model, so and I'm sure you know your history. Back in the 90s, you had the heroin chic and the weight and the Kate Moss and the Calvin. I remember being in high school in '96. CKB came out, and they had Kate Moss, who was really skinny, and that was like, oh, she's this heroin chic model. She's super skinny, and so you have the modeling industry that has this pendulum that swings both ways. And now, and it's so extreme. So now they're saying, fine. You guys want us to be all about health and stuff, so we're gonna send a message by kicking out these people because we're listening to what you guys have to say, but they don't really think about it and really think about like, okay, why are we doing this? You're gonna be hard pressed to find a guy. I tried to model. I was told I couldn't model because I was 6'2". Male models are 6 foot, 5'11" around there, right? Okay. You're gonna be hard pressed to find a lot of people that are within those sizes. And also, what is the message you're sending to a lot of these teens that are a size 0? That are naturally, that's just who they are. Now am I ugly? Now am I not worth it because I'm a size 0?
When I was in college, I weighed 135 at 6 feet tall, and I ate like crazy.
Sure.
And if your band is at people at 16. I don't know if you saw the movie 17 again, but I did, and I loved it. And there's this great moment where, Matthew Perry has turned into Zac Efron, and he's 17, and he has a whole, kitchen island full of stuff, and he's just swallowing whipped cream, and he's like, I'm hungry all the time. And that's it, but he still looks like Zac Efron.
Here's the thing, too. This only applies to the fashion week and runways. We're not even talking about what most young girls see as magazines and television shows.
Right. Instagram.
Exactly, Instagram and all these kinds of things. I mean, they did the tiniest little amount to say, hey, we're listening, but they're really not listening. Yeah. And like I said, I am so tired of watching the Victoria's Secret fashion show and seeing this guy. Well, obviously you're not. But I'm just tired of seeing these girls, and I'm like, I just feel bad every time that I watch that kind of stuff because I'm like, I don't look like that. That bathing suit's not going to look like that on me.
We're going to get those $1 million women.
Exactly. I'm not that tall. Not all of them. We like Demi. I like Demi. She looks so good.
She does. I would love to have, because this is, I find it hard to believe that models are going to speak out against this because the modeling game is so cutthroat. And it's like models like Kendall and Gigi and Carly. They want to stay employed, and I'm sure they support they think that women of all sizes and men of all sizes should work. But I would love for models to speak out against this because I think this is just such a disservice. And also, why do we give models so much power? Why are they celebrities? They do not. If you really think about a model, they really don't do anything that enhances my life. I don't see Kendall Jenner and think, oh my God, I'm so changed because Kendall is for Estee Lauder. That really doesn't drive home anything that's of any significance to my life. So why do we place so much clout and fascination on models?
One thing I like right now is Project Runway, which I hadn't watched for a long time, but Maddie was a judge, so that was Maddie Ziegler from Dance Moms. So I was like, oh, my fiance was like, let's watch that. I put a whole season recording. I'm back, and their models are all different shapes and sizes.
I love it.
I think this is the first year where they use all different types of models, which I think is amazing. And I think that New York Fashion Week, London Fashion Week, Paris, whatever, they all need to be using all these models with different sizes, shapes, colors, heights, weights,
because that's what's real. And if these businesses were truly present and wanting to be successful and profit, then you would know that, hey, let's find a way to make our products available for everyone. But that's just not the case. And I'm glad they included men in this as well, because when you think about models, you think about just females. And men are, and men are just as discriminated against in that industry and in entertainment as women are. People say, "Oh, women, the gaps," and that's true. But when it comes to fashion, it's all how you look, and men get a lot of shit too.
A lot of eating disorders.
Yeah.
Among male.
There's
models.
a video on YouTube, and I wish I had included the link about it. A guy talks about why he quit being a male model, and he said the eating disorders, the sexual abuse, the sexual assault.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he went and he says I probably will never work again, but you guys need to know what's going on. So.
Right, and so the takeaway from this is it's something like fashion industry. Good for you. You are doing something. Now that you've taken that step, let's evaluate it and say, okay, we think that the mental health aspect of it and the in the models themselves and the pressure that the models end up putting on people all out there, let's take another step and focus on that as opposed to just because size ain't nothing but a number.
That's right. You hit it on the head.
I just was saying what you guys all said together. So thank you for hitting it on the head, and thanks for last points. All right, we're going to take a little break, and we're going to come back and talk about Title IX sexual assault on campus. What should they do when enforcing it, and then also a really interesting wedding at a gymnasium. Don't go away. The University of Southern California expelled a student athlete due to charges of sexual assault, even though now the victim, allegedly, of that sexual assault says it never happened. So this is the story of Matthew Bormeister, the 23-year-old kicker on the USC football team, USC, which now is like number 4 in the nation. He won the Rose Bowl for the Trojans last year by kicking a last-second field goal, even though that team shouldn't have been in the Rose Bowl. And he is still dating Zoe Katz, who's 22, and she's one of the captains of the tennis team there. Previously, they had been caught by law enforcement after there were allegations that he had assaulted her. And witnesses said that they saw him with his hand around her throat and she was gagging. But since then, she has said, I made it very clear to USC that I have never been abused, assaulted, or otherwise mistreated by Matthew Bormeister, not on January 21st, 2017, and not ever. SC has still expelled him, and they have started to release more documents that seem to indicate that she now is misrepresenting the truth for whatever reason, but they say that they're going to keep going forward with their discipline at this point. They said they have released things saying that she sent a text message to one of her friends, to someone saying he can't know that I made a statement. And other things like this. But where do you draw the line? This is all circling around something called Title IX. Title IX's been around for a while, and it was bolstered by the Obama administration, putting in more focus on making sure that you immediately address any accusations of sexual misconduct. But fundamental underpinnings of Title IX are equality between the genders on college campuses. And so she also has said, I understand that domestic violence is a terrible problem, but it in no way applies to Matt and me. I don't know what to do in this situation. What do you guys think?
I mean, where do we even begin?
I mean, she also said, I'm ashamed because I haven't left, but I'm afraid to leave.
Right.
This was back when it was all unfolding. She says, I haven't left, but I am afraid if I do leave, it will be much worse.
Right, yeah. And in that article, there were, like, so many things that were happening at the beginning when it happened. Like, they had people who actually witnessed him with his hands around her neck. She was screaming. I mean, those people have, no motive to lie about it.
Right.
Apparently, he may be a draft prospect in the NFL, which could be a motive for her to be like, he didn't do this, like, maybe she
stick around to get half that money.
Yeah, and she's in the article also. It said that some of her friends actually saw some bruising and maybe some redness around her neck. So it seems like all signs.
They heard things.
Yeah. And they said later. And then the story later was that I think I have it here. The noises in the alley that night in January were, quote, loud consensual horseplay, is what they say. A neighbor asked if Katz was all right, and Katz responded that she was fine.
Here's the thing.
What's the thing, Heather?
I'm going to tell you the thing, Jason. It seems to me, and I think we've all come to the conclusion that it did happen, and she's trying to cover it up, and that is what we all think, and that is what the general consensus thinks here. The The problem is that we, as a general consensus, we're not law. You know what I mean? Like, even though it seems so clear to us right now that she was covering it up, it happened, it seems very clear. But at the end of the day, can we really ruin his life because of it if she's not willing or feels like she can't come forward? And I mean, for me, I'm just like, yeah, like, kick him out. I'm siding with her because I'm a woman and I feel for her, and I can feel like I could be in that same situation too. But at the end of the day, that's not what the law is. We as the people don't get to decide. So I don't know. I'm so conflicted.
It's very conflicting, but I think USC's standpoint is we're going to investigate this even more because any kind of allegations of sexual assault or sexual abuse are egregious and heinous. One. Two, what happens if something comes out that this actually did happen? USC didn't take the proper precautions, the proper steps.
Yeah, right.
So then now USC, as a private institution that's like loved and reveled in Southern California and across the nation, will have a huge scandal on their hands. They don't want to have to deal with that. You have endowments, you have all these things that come into play when it comes to universities that they have to protect their ass too.
Also, this is a university that is just fresh off of massive sanctions levied against them for things like Reggie Bush getting a car. And then you have other schools under intense scrutiny, such as Penn State, for letting the sexual assault of minors happen for years on their watch with nobody saying anything, and then certain evidence coming up that seemed to imply that folks knew about it and still didn't say anything about it. I get it. What do you say about the idea that potentially she's staying with him because she might have some kind of Stockholm syndrome, or it is an unhealthy relationship?
Codependency. You see it all the time. You see, it's battered woman syndrome. Yes, you see it all the time. I mean, I've had friends who have stayed in, I wouldn't say potentially abusive relationships, flat out dragged out fights all the time, and they acclimate their mentality to be, well, that's just how we love. That's just how we it's like
they normalize it.
Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies.
And how they had such a tumultuous, violent relationship, but they stayed together for whatever reason. That's why. So we will never ever know. Well, this is all speculation, of course. We will never ever know what or the items or the elements of their relationship. But you have to read between the lines. Things did happen. Things went down. And I'm not mad at USC for investigating it.
I think they did the right thing. I really do. They're covering themselves, and they are taking steps. And even, I mean, the witnesses say one thing. They are not law enforcement either. They don't want to take it criminally. If she doesn't want to take it any further than that, then that's fine. But I think USC did the right thing.
Legally, there's a bunch of different kinds of law. There's criminal, there's civil. You can be found not guilty of a criminal case but still be held accountable for monetary damages. And then on the other hand, you have organizations like athletic organizations. Right now, Ezekiel Elliott is a running back for the Dallas Cowboys, and he has been suspended for 6 games, but he hasn't been found guilty of anything. So what the NFL is doing is upholding his suspension but not enforcing it on the first week, because I think they're trying to buy themselves some time to find if there's some kind of closure. But if they're going to err on one side as USC, I think on the side of being against domestic violence. There's one more aspect to this, and that is Title IX, which I mentioned earlier, which is the initiative essentially that's centered around equal opportunity and protection for all. And now Betsy DeVos, who's the head of the education, the Secretary of Education, and has not said anything about DACA since it came out, even though she's in charge of education and it applies to kids of undocumented immigrants who are going to school as part of DACA. She has not said anything about that. But it seems like she is going to review DACA or Title IX and quote respond and pull back some of its regulations. So that's something to look at. We got to move on to our final story of the day, and it is this. Where do you want to get married? It's a question that affects a lot of us who want to make the mistake of getting married to someone. The answer for some couple in Cincinnati was to get married at Planet Fitness, which technically is a destination wedding because it's on a different planet. Joseph Keith III and Stephanie Hughes got married here. Let's take some photos. In Planet Fitness. Why they did it? I think it's because they work out. Who cares? Here's the first photo of them walking down the aisle
So cute.
of ellipticals.
It's like, oh, it's cute.
And here's the next photo. It's your planet. I get that. And okay, we'll talk about it. And then the third, there's their photo all together. Do they work there? They
met there.
They met there. All right. Yeah.
Their love unfurled.
All right. Thoughts, 5 words or less.
Planet Fitness, the new Tinder.
To each their own.
Chuck E. Cheese wedding.
I'm in. That gym smell, though.
Oh,
Right.
I
was thinking the same thing.
I was like, is it smelling like feet and sweaty balls?
That's an aphrodisiac. The sweaty ball scent, that's an aphrodisiac for some people. Don't
Maybe they should have upgraded.
They're all about that man musk.
Yeah.
If fitness was really important to them, maybe they should have upgraded to like an Equinox
Right.
thing. Like that would have been a much better
Don't gym shame,
experience.
Heather.
I am gym shaming.
Oh my god, wait.
Equinox is a whole other experience.
Legit it is. You walk into an Equinox and you're like showered in eucalyptus rain, and they carry you over to the.
I'm acting like I know. I
They
can't
start to
afford
look
it.
before you. Here, let me give you a push.
Yeah.
I love Planet Fitness. I had a membership there when I lived in East Hollywood. I had no complaints about it. I mean, all gyms are going to smell like sweaty balls, except Equinox. Maybe I've never been there.
Me either.
No one sweats an Equinox. They're
Yeah,
too wealthy.
I mean, if you want to get married to Planet Fitness, get married to Planet Fitness. Who am I to say that's wrong? I mean, would I choose? Like, probably not, because I don't like the smell of sweat and feet. But you know what? It looked like they had a good time.
Yeah, and like that's where. And listen, that was their first day of forever. That's where they met. So she was doing some kind of push-up or some kind of floor plyometrics. He came over and was like, "Yo, do you even lift, girl?" And she was like, "Yeah, I lift."
Not happened like that. Guaranteed.
And then it was like the eye, hearts in the eyes. But I mean, listen. First of all, destination weddings are rude, especially when they're like in another continent.
Yeah.
Secondly, don't do it.
I love it because then you invite people and
they don't show up.
you know that the people that you kind of didn't want to invite aren't going to go.
But you know that you're
But then they might show up.
That's the thing.
They're like, "Hey, girl, I have a
And you're like,
ticket. I'm here."
But you know that your friends secretly hate you because you're
True.
like, I got to spend my entire vacation and my
Right.
entire life savings to go to Hawaii for you.
Totally.
We were just roommates in college, okay?
But I think it's cute though. I think that that's just where they fell in love, and and so obviously fitness is a very important thing in their life. So they're sharing their love together through fitness, and we can't be mad at that. I mean, it is a little weird. I don't think I don't believe in marriage, and I mean that's a whole other Pop Trigger episode. but if that's where they found love in a fitness place, then we're
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
I'm distracted.
we're domestic partners.
Got it.
So I mean, but the whole
Legally
like walking down
entitled
the
to
aisle,
certain-
right? I mean, I love Munchkin. You guys know how much I love my Munchkin. But for insurance purposes and so he could be protected in California, we were domestic partners. But like more power to them. Hey, the wedding looked very colorful.
Yeah.
My favorite thing was that they had like one of the gym workers who they had known be like the officiant or whatever. I thought that was so funny.
I was disappointed she didn't have a purple dress.
I know.
If you're going to do it, you might as well do it.
Yeah, fitness.
Wait, are you all married? Is everyone married?
No.
I'm married,
No,
yes.
you're married.
And I will say, though, my husband and I met in Los Angeles, and then we moved back to Florida so I could finish school. But when it came time to get married, we wanted to come back to Los Angeles where we met.
Yeah.
Although Los Angeles is a place, not a, gym. but we didn't get married in Los Angeles, but we did fly back to have our engagement pictures done at the Santa Monica Pier where he took me one night. So those kinds of things in relationships are sentimental.
I'm getting married on Monday.
You are? What?
Yeah. Pop Trigger
What?
Yeah.
Pop Trigger exclusive.
Wait, hold on.
Married Monday.
Here's
For
what
real,
happened.
ladies.
Congratulations.
On a Monday?
On Monday, September 11th. Take it back. Never forget your anniversary. And
Serious right now? I'm
absolutely serious.
Dude.
So here's what happened.
Brett is a savage. I love
We
it.
tried to plan a wedding, and I don't have any feelings about it. So you ever someone asks you a question, what do you want for dinner tonight? Sometimes you're like, in and out, done. We're going to in and out. I never had that feeling about decisions surrounding my wedding. She was like, you want to go to Hawaii? And the answer was no. Her mom doesn't like to fly over water. So, okay, that's good. Finally, that's a reason to do it that way.
Yeah.
But like, do you want to have it in LA? Probably. But then I went through so many questions and answers of like, sure, that sounds fine. Without a response. The September 11th thing, at least I had a reaction to it.
Right.
And then we were like kind of half planning it, and her sister, who doesn't really plan very well, called up, and she's a sweetheart. She's like, "So are you guys still? I got work off on Monday. Can I come?"
So what are you doing then?
So we booked a suite at a Vegas hotel. We're gonna have everybody over. And once she called 2 or 3 days ago, I was like, yes, let's do it. And so I booked I was originally gonna stay at the Aria, which has this thing called the Executive Hospitality Suite, which is like a big room that has a bed in it, but also has like a conference room. And so what we're gonna do is, my mom's coming down this weekend, and then we're going to fly to Vegas, and we're going to all get together before the wedding in this suite that we got at a different hotel. It has a fridge in it, so that's where we're going to put the cake. That's why we switched from the executive suite.
Important.
We're going to meet up there, and then I'm not going to do the thing where it's like, you don't look at me, I don't look at you until we see each other at the wedding. So I'm going to wear a blue Banana Republic suit that I own.
Ooh, that's cute.
I look really like I'm wearing a suit in it. And she's going to wear whatever dress she just got that's getting altered right now. And we're going to get married at this chapel, I think, if it's still available, that has,
I love it.
It's called something like the glass ceiling, and it's got this, it looks like a skylight, but just at the top, it's got like a drawing of the sky, and there's LED lights down the bottom of it that make it look like sunrise or sunset or daytime.
I love this.
And it's like 80 people at seats, and we're gonna have like 7. And we're going to go do that. My mom, her stepdad, her sister. I think my brother can make it. But the best thing is this fee that you pay them. You get a URL you can send to your friends, and they stream it.
Oh my God.
They can be there. And then we're going to
so good.
And then we're going to go back. I think the night before, I'm sending all the ladies and not her sister, because her sister's into ladies. They're going to go to Magic Mike. That's going to be good.
Yes.
And then Jackie and I and maybe my brother, we're going to go maybe to
when did you come up with this plan?
Friday?
I love this. I do.
Saturday, something like that.
You know what? If you're happy, and the important thing, though, about any wedding, as everyone should know, is if the bride is happy. Is she happy with this?
Yes.
Okay, then. That's all you need. All you need.
I hate logistics, and I hate, which is weird because I produce things. Really, and it's that fear that I'm like, just do it, so I don't have to plan it again. And then I also hate asking people to come to stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. And so my mom said something like, all the people that you want to be there should be there. And I was like, I don't want to ask people to have to be there. And then we're going to do this in Vegas with just like the parents who would shoot us in the face if they found out that we got married without them.
Right.
And then later we're going to have a party in Los Angeles with a taco truck.
I love that. I love that.
For a good
Brett Ehrlich, everyone. I mean, think about it. This is so good, yo.
Slow clap.
Yeah, slow clap. Because, like, dude, you're so, like, I don't know what to say, and I've never had a loss of words. I really don't know what to say, Brett.
I think you're genius, though, because I planned a wedding. It wasn't very big, but my husband and I got married, and it was a whole to-do. And I said afterwards, even though I loved my wedding, I would never do it again.
Yep.
Never.
And this is just my first wedding, so if I don't like this, next time, as they said in Jurassic Park, next time it'll be flawless. So, I don't know.
Awesome.
That's that.
Wait,
We'll
and
see.
the rings and all that?
Oh, her ring is fucking awesome.
Bob?
Her ring's awesome. I bought it from a girl I used to date.
Wait, are you being serious?
Yeah, she runs
Oh, gosh.
14 carats or what? It's like where Rihanna gets all her shit and Beyonce gets all her shit. When I was there, like, Rihanna's person came to pick up a thing. It's like, it's in Beverly Hills, but I just know the girl who runs it, so she gave me a deal on the best ring because it's shallow, but the table is wide. So it looks big, but it's reasonable. Reasonable wasn't reasonable. None of it's reasonable at all, but it is, I don't know, it's a big ring, and it's literally colorless. It's really good. People are jealous.
Hey, she's going to have that longer than the wedding, so.
Yeah, and that's what I said.
There you go.
I was like,
True.
In LA, she's going to have that ring longer than the marriage, too, buddy.
But my ring right now is a rubber. Because I don't like. I heard Jimmy Fallon almost lost his finger because his metal ring got caught on a table when he fell.
Also, the people who got married at Planet Fitness, their rings were little weights. Like they said, please present the weight to the.
That's not true.
Bad joke. Brad.
I believed it.
Congratulations, Brad. I wish you all the
that's
best.
That's amazing.
We'll see.
Nervous. Awesome.
You should be, but nerves are good.
Yeah.
If you're not nervous, you're probably not doing it the right way.
Yeah, and another reason for us to do it is my friend lost his mom, and we're going full Scorsese with the wedding. It's going to be like we're going to have a funeral on Friday, and then we're going to turn around and do more of like, rebirth type stuff on Monday.
Every time you add details, it gets
better and
more
better.
late, right?
Why we should have a camera filming.
Seriously.
TYT reality.
I'll send you the URL.
Get the URL.
Undercover Brett Ehrlich's wedding.
We'll have video evidence. Anyways,
Thank you guys for watching. What a great experience this has been. Life, death, rebirth. And thank you guys. Oh, great. We got Darren, Heather, Jason. And we'll see you next time on Pop Trigger.
There's more NFL, there's more Puerto Rico, there's more everything in the world. I'm going to start with fun in a second. And then one of the things we're going to do today is, first we'll tell you about one of the greatest weddings in American history. What? What does that have to do with the show? You'll see. And can that really live up to its billing? Certainly one of the most patriotic. Okay, and then also a little bit later in the program, what else do I have? Oh my God, a Republican says the most devastating things about Trump. I was actually shocked at what he said. So that's coming up in a little bit. But I told you guys that we won the Streamy for Best News Show on Sunday night. Well, we're up for Show of the Year, Best Show on the Internet tonight. But you can still keep voting today. So you do that through hashtag TYT for Streamies. Just tweet that. Tweet anything else you like with it. Tweet nothing else if you want. Retweet it. That also counts. The last day of voting, it's panic time. Go for it. And then tonight, watch ceremony, see if we win. Also, Anna and I will be presenting the Storyteller of the Year. Really great category that includes DJ Khaled. Okay, I don't know how to say it. How do I say it? Anyway, I better figure it out before the ceremony. Twitter.com/streamies. Brett Ehrlich is going to teach me before the ceremony. All right, let's get started. Let's go to Sean Hannity, okay? This is one of those stories that's just nothing but fun, okay? It's about Sean Hannity. He apparently got jealous of Lawrence O'Donnell's outtakes. So someone leaked that he's got his own. This is what happens during the show when they're going to a video clip. And then this is what he does while the audience is watching the video. Harry Shearer got his hands on this. He apparently has a source inside of Fox News. This is fun. Now, first of all, this story was going to be nothing but fun. I actually didn't have anything to say about it until Hannity responded, so I got to now respond to his response. But first, let's watch him vape. Watch that. All right, there he goes. Okay, looks like the penguin there a little bit. Okay. Depends on your take on it, If you're a smoker, you might find it not so bad. There he is, that stern look, doing the Marco Rubio. No problem. Little scratch there. Maybe work with the earpiece. And game face, go. Okay, really no big deal. Okay, so he apparently vapes. What's in there? Yeah, America wants to know. Okay, we might not find out. Presumably tobacco. So Hannity then tweets out in response to this, LOL, which is appropriate. It's not real. Enjoy his advertising on my radio show. I don't smoke cigars anymore. Well, I don't think anybody thought that it was a cigarette. It looked like he was vaping the whole time, and hence the graphic. But okay, that's fine. So far, still no story. It doesn't even look that bad. It's kind of funny, but it's not that. No big deal at all. Then he says this. Nah, I had to give them up, even during golf and fishing. and I drink beer and occasionally vodka. I know liberals never do either. Okay, yeah, of course! Liberals also drink beer and vodka and do many other things. But the difference between you and us, Sean, is that we don't judge you for it. So that's why I don't care that you're vaping. I don't even care if there's weed in there. Yeah, I don't want to get into the weeds on the story, but anyways, we actually want to leave you alone. We're not in favor of big government like you are. We think you should have personal liberty, and if you want to smoke or smoke cigars or vape, have at it, Hoss. We're not going to judge you on that. But you guys are the ones who are constantly like, don't do that, and don't do this, and So, in this case, no one knows what was in it. So, overall, though, Sean, am I not merciful? Not guilty. And if you were guilty, I'd pardon you. Most reasonable man in America. Okay, we're moving forward. Just a quick little fun story. Okay, hashtag TYT for extremists. Did I mention that? All right. Now, let's go to healthcare. Wait, I have news on this, so I should do this, okay? We have news! Alright. Repeal and replace dead again! I know it's a zombie bill and it keeps coming back up, but they had until September 30th to somehow figure out how to get 50 Republicans to vote for it so they don't need Democrats. Well, it looks like it is not going to happen. Mitch McConnell came out and said, we just couldn't do it. Couldn't get enough Republicans to vote for it. The Congressional Budget Office, which is nonpartisan, had come out and said, yes, it will still cost untold millions of Americans health care coverage. And yes, it'll be more expensive. And yes, it'll cover less. Pretty much disastrous news, which cost them Susan Collins, as you'll see in a second. And so let me give you the details on how this one is dead. The decision to shelve repeal legislation came during a weekly caucus meeting on Capitol Hill as leaders acknowledged that the latest proposal from Senators Bill Cassidy and Lindsey Graham lacked the support it required to pass. That's usually how bills die. So they did not bring it up for a vote because all that would do is cause further embarrassment since they don't have enough votes. And McCain might come back out there and go, which was super fun for her. Okay, so the reason Senator Bill Cassidy, who was the author of this particular legislation, had to say this is because Donald Trump sometimes doesn't know how things work. So he said, quote, we don't have the votes, which is the most obvious thing in the world. So Trump, after one of the first efforts to get rid of Obamacare had failed, was like, I don't understand what happened. Why didn't it pass? And then he was like fuming about the filibuster. The filibuster has nothing to do with this. Filibuster is 60 votes. This would have actually been a loophole around the filibuster. You just need 50 votes, which is not even a majority. Pence would break tie, and then you would get it to pass, but you couldn't get a majority. You couldn't get 50 votes. So Trump says that he's very disappointed by a couple of senators, Republican senators. You know, he loves to hit his own side. Again, strategically, that might make sense in some cases. It hasn't in this case. If somehow he was playing three-dimensional chess, I'd love to see Trump just play chess. What are these things? What do you call this castle? Why does it only move that way? Anyway, if he had been playing three-dimensional chess, well, checkmate, I guess. He had no strategy. So let me give you more on Trump bashing other Republicans, which is always fun. He said, we were very disappointed that they would take the attitude that they did. We don't know why they did it. You can sort of figure that, but we'll see what happens. At some point, there'll be a repeal and replace, but we'll see whether or not that point is now, or will it be shortly thereafter. We are disappointed in certain